So actually we ended up lucking out and finding a place to eat inside the market. It's a restaurant which is upstairs called Rabot 1745. Only thing is we have to work out how the hell we get up there. So having wandered around the market, it was actually quite difficult to find anywhere where we could actually eat, because you can't eat inside the market. Most of the places around were full. But as luck has it, we got a reservation at Rabot 1745, which is part of the Hotel Chocolat business or chain, and they are a chocolate specialist firm that has their own plantation in St Lucia, and a lot of the food at this restaurant is based around cocoa and chocolate. So I'm a bit nervous that stuff's going to be too sweet here, but we booked that. Mutton better check it out then. I will have the scallops to start, please.
Scallops, yeah.
And then I'll have the St Lucian style hake.
And the hake as your main, sir?
Yes, please. So in case you want to see what it's like sort of looking down on the market, so obviously this market will be at its best when you can actually sit down and eat things in the market. But if things go to plan, then that will be the case in June sometime. So what is that, you might ask, in front of me? Yes, it's a glass of white wine. It's been 130 days since I've had a drink. So cheers to my little day out and my sort of step off the wagon. But as always, you see the weigh-ins every week. You can see whether I've completely fallen off, which of course I haven't. And for your information, I've gone for a glass of Sancerre. So, the scallops have arrived. Richard's having a Hereford beef dish with Yorkshire pudding and some sort of chocolate sauce. So, as always, I'll give you a close-up of the dish I've ordered. It really does look delectable, but let's see how it tastes. So, as predicted, the chocolate infused to the celeriac mousse is actually a nice touch, and it is not sweet. They've used, dark chocolate without adding all the tons of sugar that you usually get. And for those of you saying, "Oh, Mutton, you've got a celery phobia, you don't like celery, so what are you doing eating celeriac?" Now, when it comes to celeriac, it comes in two distinct parts. There is the flour on top, which has that vile celery taste, but the root itself is actually like most other root vegetables, like a potato, a swede, and from that sort of grouping of vegetables. So no hypocrisy from mutton there. Now, how are the scallops? Given the problems with exporting seafood under Brexit, I would have thought that it was very much a buyer's market at the moment, so given we're in a market, they should be pretty good. And good indeed they are. Soft, tender and flavoursome, beautifully fresh. If your scallop is rubbery, then it's not what it should be. That's not the case here. And the cauliflower, and I've been eating a lot of cauliflower of late. Crisp and cooked beautifully. As always, mutton's rule is if the veg is overcooked, you don't eat it. From the menu description, which appears very truthful, both the scallops and the cauliflower is flash seared, so cooked very quickly. And it's always the best way with seafood and vegetables. In fast, out fast. Don't cook them very much, cook them very lightly. You don't just lose flavour doing that, you lose nutrients as well, and people don't seem to realise if you boil those vegetables to death, you're actually boiling the goodness out of them as well. Richard is enjoying his Yorkshire pudding with Hereford beef. What's the sauce like there, Richard? Is it like a dark chocolate sauce, or?
No, it's like a rich gravy, but it's got little chocolate nibs in it, and it's got red wine and...
A red wine reduction. And I'm not an expert on Yorkshire puddings, but does that, or is that just a standard Yorkshire pudding?
It ain't good.
Okay, all right.
It's all right.
Fair enough. So, a highly satisfactory starter, and the wine matched pretty well with that, although I have a funny feeling that for the main course, which is described on the menu as a zingy tamarind-style hake dish with a nibbed crust, tamarind, coconut and cacao sauce, that the more tropical flavours of a New World White would match better. So maybe I'm wrong, but I'll give that a try. So the mains have arrived. Without further ado, let's take you down to see what it is. And I changed over to the New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc. Same grape, but a whole range of different flavours, bursting with tropical fruit. But the most important thing is, how does it match with the food? I'll read the description from the menu because it is quite a complicated dish. St Lucian style hake, a homage to the tamarind, succulent Cornish hake with a fresh herb and cacao nib crust with tamarind, coconut and cacao sauce to pack a punch with subtle cacao pulp braised aubergine. So let's get on with trying it. Now, of course, the Chancellor, who'd only had a starter, has decided it's time to tax the dish. So Gordon Brown's getting in there to take his VAT. And in the meantime, quite a tapestry of flavours in this dish. The light cacao crust and the sauce, full of Caribbean flavours, the sharpness of the tamarind. You can taste the coconut as well, which definitely adds a lot to the dish. It's not particularly spicy, by the way, but it is flavoursome. Quite an art to make a fruit and chocolate based dish, or a fruit and chocolate based sauce, without actually making it sweet. It is not particularly sweet, and I can assure you, as is the case with anybody who goes a long time without sugar or on a very low calorie diet, you can taste it a mile away.
Raise the taxation limit.
I think I've just landed on the Monopoly Super Tax square here. And underneath we have the aubergine, described as a subtle cacao pulp braised aubergine. Actually, aubergine is possibly close to being the best bit of the dish, but again, the fish, lovely, firm, flaky, not overcooked again. If your fish smells bad, is as hard as a bullet, overcooked, send it back. Never be afraid to send things back. You're paying quite a premium when you go to a restaurant, and especially in places like this, in a prime location. If it's wrong, don't be afraid to send it back. I might also add that hake is very much an underused fish. In Spain, they love it. We have it off our coast, but again, we have our obsession with UFOs, unidentified flying objects, and for too many people, if it's not battered cod or battered haddock, that's the end of the conversation. Don't let it be the end of the conversation. Yes. So Richard has been busy perusing the dessert menu. I'm going to pass, but when we get to that stage, we'll be in the hands of an expert. But for now, I'm going to get on with eating my dish, and I'll see you in a few minutes. So no surprises there, an empty plate. That really was stupendous, that was. I know I harp on about leave nothing on your plate being a bit of an outdated World War II and rationing mantra, but when the food's as good as that, you don't want to lose anything and you don't want to leave anything on your plate. Now, the wine, again, I think I made a good decision switching, whereas the scallop dish was more European, with the tropical fruits in the fish dish, especially the tamarind, which was mainly present in the aubergine and the sauce, which added that really vibrant sharpness to the dish. This was a better match. Dessert, which I'm not having, has arrived. What did you order there, Richard?
This is the chocolate crumbly pear tart.
Grated coconut and almond, frangipane and poached pear. Gosh.
A hint of dark chocolate with some classic crumble topping, lifted with a dense pear coulis. Dairy,
no dairy or wheat. Okay, so people with gluten and dairy issues take note. Well, yes, of course, that goes without saying. Mine will be arriving shortly. So we wait for the man from Del Monte to say yes or no with bated breath.
If you like frangipane, and I do, this is soft, delicate, very tasty.
Okay.
The mixture of the flavours bursts in your mouth.
So there you go. There you go. The aficionado de postres has spoken, and it seems to get a thumbs up as well. And actually, everything has been good here. I could ask for his opinion of the coffee, but I'm going to have one as well, so you're going to get my opinion instead. Okay, so the coffee has arrived. Let me show you it to the best of my abilities without performing my party piece of pouring it out of the cup. In fact, let's just pan down a little bit. There you go. Big, rich crema. If you get an espresso without a crema, so the top is black and crema is the thin brown or even darker top of the coffee, don't accept it. No crema, no server. Let's try this one out. Well, the preview was accurate. It is a very tasty espresso with just a slight hint of nuttiness, which is a flavour I quite like. It's quite hard to identify flavours in espresso, but since I'm a bit of an addict, I kind of know it there. It's not the darkest roast ever, but still suits the occasion pretty well. So sadly we've reached the end of the meal, and a delicious meal it was at that. Now, the bill was entirely reasonable. You can see it there, about £95 for two. Consider where you are, central London, one of the most expensive cities in the world, and in a prime location, in a popular tourist location. But that does not mean that this is a tourist trap. This is a place well worth coming to. The wine served by the glass was nice, the food was excellent, and they used their own cocoa products exquisitely to complement the food. As always, please remember to like, share and subscribe, or if you have negative comments, I'm happy to receive those. I'm going to see you on the next one, and don't forget, does it really need saying? You can't beat a bit of mutton.